Barbadians still owe over $1 billion in outstanding taxes. A disaster management official wants the public to change their mindset about hurricane shelters. Support for mentorship programs for young Barbadians. And in sports, the Royals pull off the biggest run chase of the 2023 CPL.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Boeing. The Barbados Revenue Authority is owed more than $1 billion in outstanding tax revenue. The disclosure from Revenue Commissioner Louisa Lewis Ward. She says this is in spite of substantial compliance from some taxpayers.
We talk about refunds quite often, but taxpayers also owe the authority somewhat of $1.5 to $1.8 billion. So therefore, the enforcement capacity has to be there to collect. What we've seen is significant compliance from large and medium-sized taxpayers alike. And so we welcome the initiatives. We've put together teams who meet with large taxpayers on a regular basis to make sure that the compliance is there so that the government can collect revenues to allow us to be able to do the social spending that we want to have at the end of the day.
Ms. Lewis Ward was speaking to the media at the start of the 2023 Commonwealth Association of Tax Administrators, or CAT-A, Senior Leadership Program. This year, 31 senior tax administrators have been selected from 16 countries around the world to take part in the developmental program. Today also marks the official launch of the BRA's new online payment portal for land tax bills. The Revenue Commissioner says it both improves the speed at which taxpayers can pay and the speed by which government can collect revenue.
The land tax portal has been working very, very well. We've had both foreign and local payments being made through the system. We launch officially today, so you can go on and view and pay your taxes online. And it's part of the initiative to upgrade systems to make it easy to build public trust, make it useful for taxpayers so that you're not standing in long lines.
Meanwhile, Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, says government is committed to ensuring the removal of any archaic systems with respect to how taxes are derived, paid or shared. Addressing the opening ceremony virtually, he underscored the importance of tax policymakers and administrators staying abreast of the ever-changing times.
These programs are critical for building the kind of capacity that would allow the countries and the tax administrators, as well as the relevant government departments and other agencies, to be able to stay on the cutting edge with respect to the evolution of business, the evolution of tax policy, and certainly with the global drive for digitization and digitalization, that the issues confronting us with respect to the exchange of information, that we can put those to rest, such that countries will no longer feel the need to put Barbados or anybody on a list.
Well, Barbadians are being urged to change their mindset about staying in shelters to ride out hurricanes. It's coming from District Emergency Organization official Omar Estwick. He was a panelist for a discussion hosted by the Barbados Meteorological Service and the Department of Emergency Management to discuss the impact of high winds and the role of insurance.
Even after the passing and there's damage to the house, they still don't want to leave.
Why is that?
I don't know. When we get to those individuals, we pass on the information, and because there's nothing else we can do, and we have to move on to do more assessment to check and see who else is damaged. If they don't want to leave, we try our best, but then we have to move on.
Meanwhile, the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season is in full swing, and Barbadian homeowners are being advised to ensure their properties are adequately covered. Senior insurance executive with the General Insurance Association of Barbados, David Aline, says the sum insured should be at a level that will cover the cost to rebuild.
Because even if you have an insurance policy and you do not have the sum insured at the right level, you will not be properly covered against damage or loss. So it's important not only that you have insurance, but that you make sure that your sum insured, the value of your home insured, is at the right level for replacing the home.
There is great optimism. A deal can be struck for the sale of the Barbados Agricultural Management Company to Barbados Sustainable Energy Cooperative Society Limited, Co-op Energy Barbados. Since Co-op Energy spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown announced that move last week, there has been much public discussion about its feasibility. However, Mr. Brown believes the plan has been well thought out.
We actually welcome that kind of feedback, and basically the concerns that have been expressed relate to the use of funds that credit unions accumulate and using them in risky enterprises. And that you may or may not know, but for financial institutions, there is a general rule that such investments are very, very limited, both banks and credit unions. However, we have actually dealt with the situation in the creation of Co-op Energy. Co-op Energy is a specialized cooperative that is actually registered for the sole purpose of investments, particularly in energy. So that what we're asking credit unions to do is not to take credit union funds and put it into investments.
Lieutenant Colonel Brown reiterates that credit union funds are primarily for loans to members, but the way Co-op Energy is structured, it allows members to benefit from the deal.
Now, what credit unions can do is make loans to members who want to do investments in energy who may not have the cash. The credit union can lend that member money and the member can make the investment. Those kind of opportunities exist. Credit unions can also create investment funds, green funds, for example, for their membership, and then they can manage the investment on the members' behalf, because many of our members are not that experienced in things like long-term investments, so the credit union can provide that expertise on the members' behalf.
Back-to-school shopping is well underway in Bridgetown as parents and students prepare to return to the classroom later this month. Crystal Hoyt has more.
2 weeks before school children return to the classroom, and businesses in Bridgetown are reporting a steady flow of customers picking up the essentials and little to no stock shipment issues. Over at Woolworth, Managing Director Martin Bryan was busy helping customers.
We've seen a pickup in back to school right through all departments. Clothing, stationery, books, backpacks, school shoes, everything. Condument came to an end, then parents got into back to school mode.
However, he cautioned parents to shop early as some items may become limited.
We have had some challenges with one of our suppliers. He had some challenges with white and some cakey, but we have made up with another supplier. So by and large, we should have enough to cover everyone for all their uniform needs for sure. Parents were buying very early, so some of our sizes of socks have sold out. I would recommend that those parents who have not started to shop yet do so indeed, because we can have limited stocks available as we get closer to back to school.
Similar reports from store operations manager Stacey Wharton over at Bridgetown Duty Free as parents looked for books.
As soon as school finished, persons came in with their book lists. Those would be our early shoppers. We did see a little downtake in business in August for crop over, but as soon as crop over was finished, we saw our customers back in store continuing to shop for the necessary textbooks and stationery for the kids.
She added that Bridgetown Duty Free is fully stocked.
There's some textbooks that we were sold out of, but we placed another order, and we actually received that order on Saturday, so we have a replenishment of books back in store.
Sole Addiction owner Nancy Nume was happy with the traffic, reporting that sales are good so far.
I still expect the last minute rush, but because we have the stock, people are coming in so early to get everything out of the way.
She shared what she's noticed regarding supply and sales.
The supply has been good so far. We just had some issues with certain size runs, like a lot of small sizes in certain styles like brown leather with the Velcro and stuff. There's certain styles that's kind of hard to get, but we were able to substitute with some other brands or other styles and so on. So I mean, for the most part, we have everything that everybody's looking for. I find maybe a few persons will still have bags that they've gotten from us from previous years, which are still in good condition. So they've just been keeping those. Apart apart from that, I think everybody's doing the little combo.
Children return to the classroom on September 18th. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Coming up, concern about the reluctance of women to get surgery for breast cancer. The belief that surgery can cause breast cancer to spread is leading to a reluctance by patients to undergo surgical procedures. Consultant General and Breast Surgeon Dr. Dale Springer shed light on the situation as he sought to dispel the myth. Dr. Springer was a guest on Morning Barbados.
I would say it's across the board, but it tends to be in the older age groups when we find these misconceptions sometimes. But it generally across the board. So I think it's really good that we need, and it's really important that we try to educate the public and discuss these things to hopefully bring some awareness and get people to have a different perspective and different thought process about these things.
A government minister has given the thumbs up to mentorship programs to help in the development of Barbadian youth. Minister of State in the Office of the Attorney General with responsibility for crime prevention, Corey Lane, says their work is important. Mr. Lane's comment came at the close of the Purpose 180 Foundation's Summer Blast Level Up Boys program.
Looking at these programs now, I see almost Nigel and these programs as almost like social pharmacists, because this is what the doctor ordered. This exactly is what is required in our society, and you are filling that prescription exactly to the milligram of what is required in the society. And that is why I have given my dedication to you and others that these are the type of programs that we will be supporting in every way, because these programs need to be skilled, they need to be expanded.
The program, which ran for 8 weeks, was hosted by the registered charity Purpose 180 Foundation. It's part of their efforts aimed at impacting life through sports and experimental learning. 7 boys participated in the program along with 8 mentors. Founder of the charity, Nigel Jules, says the program is aimed at adding value and assisting the young men in making educated choices.
We are about creating a mindset where the information, the experiences, the knowledge that we have, we pass it on to the boys that they can make educated choices based on individuals who would have gone through things that they may be facing. Yeah? The holistic approach. Now this is our standard, our values, and our foundation. Yeah? When we talk about the holistic approach, we talk about the social, we talk about the environmental, the emotional, the physical, the intellectual, and the spiritual components to an individual. Yeah? So every session, at some point, we engage in one of these areas.
Well, females have claimed the top prizes in this year's Don't Meth It Up competition. Organized by the National Council on Substance Abuse, the contest encouraged entrants to submit works on poetry, illustrative posters, or essays. In the end, Maria Chandler won the essay category, Kerensa Yard poetry, while Anya Graves dominated in the posters. The NCSA's deputy manager, Troy Wickham, says these contests are important in the anti-crime fight.
We know that through music, drama, dance, visual arts, you can draw attention to problems in their community, educate others on the benefits of a drug-free lifestyle, and suggest ways to deter the misuse of drugs. Research suggests that young adults who participate in bands, drama, art clubs are significantly less likely than non-participants to be arrested as they come in contact with the criminal justice system, use drugs, or engage in binge drinking.
The Chief of Staff, Commodore Arrington Sherland, and members of the Barbados Defence Force have expressed condolences to the family and friends of Micaiah Thompson. The young man, who was a cadet company sergeant major, died on Saturday after diving off a jetty at Pebbles Beach. In a statement, the BDF said Warrant Officer 2 Thompson was a dedicated member of the Barbados Cadet Corps. He was also a national track and field athlete in the triple jump, long jump, and 100-meter sprint disciplines. He attended the Dighton Griffith and Christchurch Foundation schools. Time for us now to dive into the world of sports. We're joined by Mark Seal. Mark, good evening.
Very good evening to everyone. Barbados and West Indies cricket legend Peter Lashley has passed away. Lashley debuted for the West Indies in 1960 against Australia and was one of the participants in the historic tied test during that series. Overall, the left-handed batsman and right-arm medium pacer represented West Indies in 4 tests with an batting average of 22.71. Now, in a 17-year first-class career from 1958 to 1975, he scored 3,994 runs at an average of 48.7 for Barbados. Peter Lashley, who was 86 years old, leaves to mourn his son William. CBC extends condolences to his family, friends, and the entire cricketing fraternity.
In business tonight, the liquidity within the credit union movement makes them prime partners for government. Spokesman for the Barbados Sustainable Energy Cooperative Society Limited, Co-op Energy Barbados, Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown, says in the last 30 years they have been extremely successful financially, and it's time to move to the areas of investment and production.
While credit union funds are not primarily for investment and things like this, as part of their operations, credit unions are required by law to maintain what they call reserve funds. This is liquid funds. There's actual dollars that they cannot lend out, they cannot spend. They have to keep it for the support of their ongoing operations. Now, what Co-op Energy provides is an additional opportunity for credit unions to use these reserve funds that have to be kept in more productive ways, so they can make deposits in Co-op Energy, for example. Not investments in the sugar industry, deposits in Co-op Energy that offer far better returns than they can get currently in the banking system, for example.
Government has a roadmap in hand to raise the competitive profile of local businesses in the energy sector to a world-class standard over the next 5 years. This from Project Lead Economic Advisor for Natural Resources with the Commonwealth Secretariat, Victor Kintage, who says this process will help Barbados become more attractive to international investors. Speaking during a handover ceremony for the local content program development Program Manager Mr. Kintage noted the initiative is a catalyst which outlines a strategy to remove complex barriers of competitiveness for local businesses in the global energy value chain.
We came up with a solution to address these barriers. And the solution had these 2 twin objectives. One of them is to raise the competitiveness, and this is the government aspirations, to world-class standard, so that local suppliers can compete not only just in the local economy, but in the global value chain. The second solution was to guarantee market access to local suppliers, because unless local suppliers know there are opportunities existing out there, so they will not be able to participate effectively in the energy industry value chain.
We are back to more sports, therefore we are back to Mark Seal.
Indeed, and we have 2 types of tennis, but first road tennis, where the top seed and defending champion Mark Venom Griffith was among the winners as the Barbados Road Tennis Open reached Dover over the weekend. Griffith defeated Curtis Jones at 10 and 12 to advance from the round of 64, along with Julian Michael Jackson White and 6 other players. CBC's Damian Best reports.
Live and in living colour at Dover in Christchurch for the Barbados Road Tennis Open. First up was David Arundel in the far court versus Raheem Nurse. Arundel looked fit as a fiddle in the opening game, reminding the spectators of his ability. But once the youngster was fully warmed up, he secured the opening game with some crisp combinations. Locked the score at 10 before speeding to 21-13 in the opener. In the second game, Arundel made the necessary adjustments defensively and extended the rallies like his life depended on it. And that meant Raheem would have to be smart in his shot selection. Point there to Arundel. In fact, the veteran would win the second game at 21-19, forcing a third. Apparently, that second game took some of the wind out of Arundel's sails as Raheem applied the pressure. Down 3-11, the writing was on the wall, and Raheem Nurse will eventually send Arundel packing with a sow, 21-8 in the third. Second fixture, Winslow, the coach Burkett in the white shirt versus Ezekiel Ward, nicknamed Easy. Both players guilty of several unforced errors. So 3 points were on offer. In the end, though, it was Ward who would advance in 2 straight, 21-10, 21-13. Next on court, Shabir Greenidge, closest to the screen, and Jonathan Allen. The body language of Greenidge suggested he was unenthusiastic about playing his opponent. But surprisingly, the opening game locked at 21 apiece. Allen showing he could hang with the veterans. Backed by the spectators, the underdog Allen showing some grit and determination. Greenidge having to subdue his aggression with the score at 24-all before taking the first game 26-24. Switch of ends. Greenidge, not wanting to play a third game, was more diligent in the second, and he raised the 2-point deficit at 15-13 before easing ahead 18-16 and eventually registering the win 21-17. More entertainment. Kurt Allen started like a superstar against Jason Goodridge. The passing shot was followed by a shimmy and a stare down into the CBC camera. If confidence was a person, that was him. The theatrics lasted for the entire first game as he took Goodridge to market like Christmas was tomorrow. The straight drives were accurate and delivered from any angle. The score, 21-4 in the first. After his visit to the abattoir, Goodridge vowed never to go back. The advice at the break seemed to pay off. He not only escaped the double sow, but managed to reach 14 before Allen shut the shop for good. A comprehensive victory in 2 straight at 4-14. One of the primetime fixtures involved Julian Michael Jackson White versus St. Elmo Lord in yellow. White playing in short pants for a change was not tested and drew first blood 21-11 after leading 12-5 at one stage. The second was over in a jiffy with Lord battered and bruised as White settled for an early night victory in 2 straight at 11-3. White moving on.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.